and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, there were a couple of corrections to the minutes. We got those corrected, so I'll make a motion to approve the January 12th, 2026 minutes.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Chris?
So a couple items on the list here. Rob wanted me to make sure that town council is aware. Laura Hammond has taken over the rural development. He's looking for a response from her quickly to start this water project out. He's also focusing on the with Peerless Midwest on well number 1, reviewing the new casing and screening for that well for the rehab part of that project accordingly. The park project, we did have our initial kickoff meeting here recently. Gary, I and Isaac met out at site, did a walkthrough accordingly. We did find some discrepancy. I guess there is a large slab of concrete out there that we'll have to review and potentially incorporate it into the project as a whole. With that, our next meeting for the park board is virtual. It is this Wednesday. And part of this is I can be down here if no one's familiar or not comfortable with the virtual meeting to present, or if everyone's comfortable with it, everyone will sign on accordingly.
It's up to
Just
the park
let
board.
me know what direction.
It's up to them.
Yes. Other than that, everything's moving forward.
Okay. Matt?
For January, I had 20 calls for service, 1 ordinance issue. I only had 8 traffic stops, but that was mostly due to the weather and road conditions. And then I had several issues with the truck. I had to get a new windshield in it. And then all my red and blue lights went out. So it went up to Cops Gear to get like $1,600 worth of lighting repair fixes. And then I had a speed sensor go out. I lost my 4-wheel drive. So it was a rough month of January. That's really all that I have for that. I did have 1 warrant arrest. Gatlin Burton, our new deputy marshal, he's kind of at the mercy of a firearms instructor getting him qualified, and nobody has got with him to get started yet. So he's been on them, even trying to get one of the Wabash City guys, I think, to go get him because the county's not getting it done yet. So
Sounds familiar.
so that's what the holdup is on him. Caliber, the new CAD system, that's been a headache also. It's up and running, but it's been one issue after the next. So lots of meetings with the Caliber people to get those bugs ironed out, which they assure us is normal with the new implementation, but it's been a headache. That's all I got though.
Okay. Whenever you figure out caliber, you can let me know because I can't figure it out either. So. Tom?
For the month of January, we had 13 calls we responded to. 3 of those were fire and 10 were EMS.
Okay. Jeff is not here, right? Did he give you anything?
He did not.
Okay. He's down working on a leak. He didn't call me and tell me anything, so I assume everything's going okay. Park board.
I think, Tom, you're with familiar, right?
I'm here for the
So, just piggybacking on what Chris said, we're working with the council and Commonwealth on the grant application for the park funds. We have the Boots and Bows event coming up a week from this Friday, the 20th, at the community building, which is father, daughter, or uncle, grandfather, male figure in their life person. There's been information on that online. We do have Robert Bile, who's interested in filling in the vacant board spot. The ordinance that created the board does say they must be residents of the town. He lives on 1,000, just not even a mile out of town.
I didn't
So I
think it,
don't know if we wanna modify this or, within a certain like perimeter of town, because no one else has really showed any interest and
I think that
and
may
he has
just
a
be,
good
a-
construction background and works at Builders
I think that
Marshal.
may just be a clerical error because it was not supposed to be just town residents. It was supposed to be anyone that essentially had a LaFontaine address.
Okay, well, I mean,
Because
it does
everyone
say-
outside of town
yeah.
still uses the park too.
But
So.
he is, he is, but, I mean, has a lot of information and context that I think would be valuable to us going forth with construction, but.
Unless you guys object, I'm sure Jordan can look at that and
Yeah, if you wanna
Yeah.
give me a copy of that, maybe afterwards, I can take a look.
anything else? Clerk.
Tom was next on the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, he's under park, but go ahead.
I'm not with the park, I'm with the community alliance.
Okay.
On the mural project.
Gotcha.
So I'm gonna hand you a whole bunch of
Sorry.
papers that it looks a whole lot worse than what it is. So we've come up with an idea for the mural to do a contest to develop the. So the top 2 pages are just an overview. So there's some questions in terms of, and I'm gonna stand up and talk if you don't mind. There's some questions as far as how much involvement in terms of decision-making the town wants to have as opposed to how much is the alliance doing in terms of setting dates. There's a suggestion for a theme. All of those sorts of pieces of, I'm kind of coming in on the backside of this thing, so it's a question of where we at with it. So the document overviews the entire process. So I don't know if you want to be into a process of reviewing it all and then at the next meeting going through some actual decisions, just understand that impacts timeline. So we would expect contests to be 6 to 8 weeks. We do it based on school kids who are in a LaFontaine school and then potentially opening it to the community. Concept would be then get potential winners, and then have those reviewed by a board of people that are then going to come back with, okay, here's the ideas. That then becomes, are used by our artists to be refined, not just taken whatever they put together and refined. Obviously, there's some issues to deal with because you have to use copyright, make sure they're not copyright, there's no copyright, it's got to be released. They've got to understand that this is no longer your work. We'll give you attribution, but you're not getting paid for it. Maybe there's some prizes, that sort of stuff, but we're not, that's what all of that document overviews. So goal here was to kind of level set one for myself. And again, there's 17 pages as part of the packet. Other questions like, where do we drop off entries? And we drop them off here at the town office. If not, where?
You can drop them off here.
But I don't want to assume that. I think I got to ask the questions.
It's good.
It's fine.
So do we want to go through and kind of make some basic decisions? Do you want to go through, review the information and we circle back next meeting?
I think the biggest thing, at least for me, is just okay in the final concept. We're okay in the final design. That's it. Your guys' deal. It's your fundraiser or however you want to do it.
Yeah, and
That's why you guys
that's
are
actually
doing
part of that packet.
I think it's just however you guys want to get to that. And then we just basically give the final, just because it's the town's building, I think we should
Sure,
sign off
sure,
on
sure,
saying it's
sure.
okay and it's approved.
One of the things I think I'd like some feedback on, one of the ideas was and we kind of kicked around to different things, a theme of LaFontaine, our past, our people, our future. We kind of liked it. We weren't tied to it, but good, bad, don't care.
That sounds fine to me. I mean,
It is part of that process that by the time we get to the final, here's what we think we're gonna
Yeah.
put on the side of the building, obviously.
you give them
that's
some kind of a
gotta be-
guideline on how you want them to do their submission, so.
Right, yeah, so there's language in there in terms of, we've got to make sure that it's not any sort of, objectionable speech. There's got to be, some guardrails out of that structure. So if you're fine with us running forward with it and still looking for a, June type install timeframe, we've got to back up to be, approved probably into May, I would be guessing, because.
Well, I think basically it's gonna come down to when enough money's raised.
Well, sure.
Yeah, I don't think we could necessarily put a timeline on, I mean, if we don't have enough money raised, then,
Yeah, I mean, but it's a case of,
yeah,
for any sort of approval, it's gonna be, you're gonna approve it, it's gonna be
Yep.
probably 6 weeks, 4 weeks for somebody to, so there's some timing issues out of this thing.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I don't think there's anything we need to vote on. So,
I was, like I said, wanted to just kind of level set, kind of got into the back end of this thing and didn't want to assume anything. 'Cause
Nope,
that's just
I think-
a bad plan.
yep, we had the building painted, so it's all ready to accept the mural.
Okay.
So then,
If you read through that information, if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call. I don't know if my contact information is on there, but you might as well just ever get that.
I have
think
it.
I have it.
Yeah.
I have.
You know how to get hold of me.
Yeah, okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Tom.
Thanks.
Okay. Now, Pam.
All the bank accounts are reconciled and balanced for January. I'll be closing the fund accounts for the 2025 year this week. The invoices for the new meters and installation have been paid. The appropriation accounts are overdrawn. Because of that, those will be reimbursed when we receive the USDA monies for the water project. The Boyce Keystone contract has been paid and renewed for 2026. Property insurance with Travelers has been paid and renewed for 26. I'll be attending the spring State Board of Accounts called meeting in Plainfield, March the 8th through the 12th, and I will not be at the council meeting in March because of that. Tracy has some family things going on that week. There may be a day or so that the office wouldn't be open that week, but we'll just play it by ear. Bills for approval are $12,976.20.
I'll make a motion. We pay the bills at $12,976.20.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
We have one adjustment. It's a debit to an account. Customer sold their house and moved out, and they had a final billing, but it was finalized by mistake in the system and didn't get billed for that last billing. So it's a debit to their account of $81.65.
Okay, I'll make a motion for account number 2269002, a debit to the account for missed billing of $81.65.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
And John, we have the update to the billing, if you want to address that now.
Yeah. Jordan, you want to explain this? I think I pretty much understand it, but
Sure. So these are just some revisions to a couple of sections on our utility billing procedures. And it's basically keeping us in line with a recently enacted statute that,
state code, yeah.
kind of talks about who's responsible for which portions of our bills and what our remedies are when they don't get paid.
So we used to be able to hold the landlord responsible for essentially everything, and then now they can only be held responsible for part of it unless they sign off on the other parts too, so.
Yep.
Okay,
So is this part of
what's
is there
the,
a code or a number?
Yeah, there's a citation to the new Indiana law down at the bottom
It's the
of the revision
utility
section.
Utility
for it.
billing, okay, utility billing
Yeah, utility billing procedure.
procedure.
Mhm.
I make a motion, we adopt the billing procedures for the Indiana Code 8-1-.5-3-8 and Indiana Code
36-93-32-32, ordinance number 3, 2017.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Is this when we have to suspend the rules and do it again?
No, it just
Okay.
takes one vote.
Always get confused on which one of those we have to do that on.
And Joan, I apologize, but I left LACA off of the agenda.
Do what?
I forgot to put LACA on the agenda. for
Oh, okay.
tonight.
All right.
Go ahead.
You're up. Yep. We'll go ahead with you. We'll go ahead with you, and we'll go to Jeff when you're done then.
Okay, so we continue with our efforts on fundraising. It's been tough it's like we can't seem to get through it, but, so we're continuing with that. I'll work with Tom, of course, to find out, we have an artist that's gonna do the painting, and then we'll work on that part together. Then we are looking at possibly April to bring the community. There's a lot of little businesses in LaFontaine and you wouldn't know it. So to bring them in with a guest speaker as well to learn what Grow Wabash County is doing, incentives that they may have, and just to introduce ourselves to each other, the small businesses, and then again, there are some really neat programs under Grow Wabash County that would be of benefit to the community as well. And unless they present and, unless they bring it in and show us, we wouldn't know what's available. We'll move forward with that. Also, I wondered if the board had an update for, in December when we brought this up regarding fundraising. You were still in the middle of budgets. And
Oh, as far as the mural?
yes, how much you were going to be able to donate.
I don't think we've discussed it. We had a big expense in painting the building. So I'm not sure where we're at as far as a donation for the mural.
Should we kind of wait and see where your
Yeah.
fundraising is and when it's getting closer to the time of the painting and see?
Okay.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's fine, that's fine. And so the last thing for LACA is we do have a website that we're looking at for building it. Although with the community our size, I don't know that we need too many. I know that the Lions group has one, we would have one, the town has one, and how beneficial would that be? So really looking to making sure that all the information for our community is centralized instead of, so many little pockets to go look at. I don't think that's wise. So, but that's just my opinion, and looking at that as a website in order to communicate. And then lastly, at our last meeting, I presented to the historic club here with a proposal that we work on some placemakers in terms of telling the story with QR codes on different locations of interest. I think that would come in handy, especially when the park is done, to talk about the Crumley part and then this part and just adding stories. We're not a very big community, obviously, but we can make it a really nice, livable, adding to it, to what's the existing now. And I thought that might be something that would be of interest to them. So waiting to hear from them, but it's all coming together.
Cool.
Thank you.
Jeff, you have anything?
Just what's going on right now. We have the main break on Kendall Street that we're dealing with. We had to stop for the day to get some parts that we need for tomorrow. Sullivan's is going to try to repair it live so we don't have to shut the water system down. But if something breaks during that process, we'll have to shut it off at the tower. So the town will be out of water while we repair it. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but it's a possibility.
Okay. If it does, make sure that we can get a reach alert out and any advisements of anything to follow up afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing on the agenda as far as requests. Jay's here. He was on the agenda last week and wasn't here, so
Okay, I was here 3 or 4 months ago and had a question on my utility bill. And
All right.
of course, you guys were going to check it out. John, I did receive your email, which actually generated more questions than answers, and I sent you a reply, and then I never went back. And before you go too far, I have several more issues that's come up since then.
Okay.
So, I think if I understood you correctly, when they removed my old meter, it had 600 gallons. I'm gonna call residual on it, and then you put the new one in. I actually have documentation from the clerk's office that says when they removed my old meter, put the new meter in, that's exactly what I got charged. So that contradicts exactly what you said, that there was 600 gallons left on my old meter when they took it out.
It wasn't 600 on the old meter. There was 600 on the new meter because you guys switched it out, and then they came in later to set the meters up, and that's when I had 600 on it. Correct?
I know we switched it in the middle of the billing cycle, so
Yes.
there was usage on the old meter
Yeah.
that was applied to the new meter.
That's what I assumed, and when I called down to the clerk's office and asked, they said that that was not the case.
That's my understanding. That was the case.
Well, that's what I'm saying, now we're getting conflicting stories.
I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
Okay, well, let's move on to the
Okay.
next one. So, on the bill that I received on 9/17, that's when you read the meter. It said that my meter reading was 12,800 gallons. And when I can access that meter through that ion water, so I can actually read the meter, I never reached 12,800 gallons until the next day at about 8 o'clock. So you actually, according to the bill that Polk sent, you billed me for water that I never consumed until the next day. Now, that's not happened only once, but that's happened 3 times. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but my last bill, which would have been the date when you read it on January the 17th, it said the meter reading was 23,300, and pretty much didn't get that till about 9 o'clock the next day. So I'm not sure why the town is billing for water that I haven't consumed. I'm not sure how the billing works. Can somebody explain that?
I don't know when the
The
meters
bills
are
are
read.
read on the 17th. And it takes the reading, the last reading for the 17th, is my understanding.
What time was that paid?
What?
What time was the last reading?
The last reading on the 17th.
So it reads every 15 minutes, so it'd be within 15 minutes of midnight.
I do it on the 18th and I tell it to read for the 17th, so it takes total consumption for the 17th, is my understanding.
But when I look at my meter through the internet, it says I never reached that point until the next day.
I don't know.
So it's
Jay.
probably reading it the next day is when she's doing it. So
I don't know.
Yeah.
She just said the 17th. I'm just asking for clarification.
Yep.
You pass this up, Tom. Just a couple more. These will be harder to explain. John, if you could read the actual dates, that's 2 months worth of at my ex-baby. And if you look at the previous reading and the present reading on both of those are exactly the same, which is impossible.
Well, it's not impossible, Jay. You had a backflow in your meter. In January, you had 143 gallons of backflow go through your meter.
I don't know how.
We were aware of that. It shows up on our system. I made Jeff aware of it, and that's why you're reading. It showed no consumption because you had a backflow that month.
It doesn't say no consumption. It says the exact.
Right. You use very little water over there anyway,
I
and
knew
you
that.
had a backflow. So
I'm not
you
sure.
had a negative read on your meter.
The
How
backflow
does
would be
that happen?
extremely bad.
Talk to Jeff. We have several in the area that are showing backflows on the new system. I don't
So
know
how
how
do
it
you
works.
keep from
No,
getting
no.
contaminated water?
Talk to Jeff.
Hold on. This is January's here. That's not January's.
What is that?
Those are the previous months.
this is December.
November, December?
Yes.
No. And what's your question on them?
The question is, how can the bill be exactly the same? It says, what's it say, John? It says I used 400 gallons was the previous, and it went to 500 as the present.
500, 600.
Okay, and the next one says the exact same thing, 500, 600. That cannot be because the 600 should get moved down to the previous reading, and then it would move on from there. It's pretty simple. You take the present reading, move it the next month to the previous, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So that's not right. And I see what, I'm not sure how I have a negative flow, but anyway, I see that on my bill. The present reading was 500, the previous was 600, but you have my total consumption is 900. If I take 600 from 500, I get negative 100, which is what you just said. But you said the total consumption is 900.
Your consumption for last month was not 900.
That's what the bill says, Pam. I have it right here. It says consumption 900.
Because I specifically looked at your bill because I knew it had a negative consumption. And I looked at it to see what it was.
What's that say right there? Total consumption 900.
Previous reading 600. Yeah.
I'm just going on what the documentation the town supplies me, and it doesn't make sense.
Okay. So obviously we're having some issues with the billing on the new thing, so we'll have to get a hold of the company and try to get some answers.
Okay.
That's the best I can tell you right now. I can't give any answers right now. I don't know them.
I understand, but this has been going on since they put the new meter in at my house, and I haven't checked my other properties yet.
Okay.
I got that much trouble with mine, and I only have a sample or two. How much problems does the town experience overall for 380 customers?
Well, it sounds like we're talking less than 24 hours. So if she's telling the meter to read on the 17th, and for some reason it's not reading on the 17th, it's reading on the morning of the 18th, that's something we'll have to get a hold of the billing company or the meters and figure it out from there. So.
Let me know when you figure it out. And I need those papers back, please.
They're right there.
Did Jeff make a copy?
I got a
We have
question now.
copies. Yeah, Jed.
Elephant in the room. If you have water going back through a meter, you realize what that means.
Jeff has addressed that. Jeff has
We're
addressed
Find
that.
out, Jeff.
We're in the process of identifying all the homes that have backflow because there are more than one in town. And we weren't able to see that before these new meters. So we're in the process of getting backflow preventers put on all those homes.
But now, when the tower loses pressure, it comes below a certain point. That's when water is introduced into your lines, correct?
The tower's not losing pressure.
No, hear me out. If your tower loses pressure, you're gonna have rainwater that can enter your pipes. That's why you guys do a reach alert, correct?
No.
That's not why they do reach alert. What happens if you lose pressure in your water in your tank? And your
If it
lines
goes
in
below
town?
20, we put out a boil advisory.
Okay,
It doesn't
okay,
go
boil
below
advisory. It's the same concept. You're taking water from a residence and it's going back into the pipe. That's not good.
I can guarantee you 100% that we're sitting here, that I have nothing in my shop that's overpressurized in the 50 or 60 pounds that you're supplying with the water tank. I can guarantee it. So whenever you say you got several in town that are backfeeding, you have to overpressurize the system at 50, 55 pounds, whatever you're running. The only way you can do that is have a pump hook back pumping it or an air compressor or something. And as the town should be aware,
Most of the
if you have
meters,
anything that's hooked up with air that can overpressurize the system, you have to either have a backflow preventer or you have to have an air gap. Now, I can guarantee you, I have nothing overpressurizing the system.
most of the meters register like 1,000th of a gallon. It's just a water hammer in the system, basically. I mean, it's very small amounts, and there's not very many of them. There's only a few houses in town, but there are more than one, and we are identifying those, and we're gonna have backflow preventers put on those homes.
Then who's gonna pay for that?
The homeowner. It's in our ordinance.
Not unless you can prove that I'm overpressurizing the system. I'm not paying for backwash preventer because you have to have those checked every 6 months and make sure they're in compliance. You have to be able to prove that somebody's doing that.
Okay. Anyone else? Any more questions, anything? Good? Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Somebody's-